The Knight of Excalibur. Emily was a brave knight who had sworn to protect the kingdom of Valyria from any threat. She had trained hard since she was a child, learning how to wield a sword, ride a horse, and fight with honor. She had earned the respect and admiration of her fellow knights, as well as the king and queen, who had appointed her as their personal guard. One day, the kingdom was attacked by an evil sorcerer named Zalazar, who had a grudge against the royal family. He had amassed an army of dark creatures, such as goblins, orcs, and trolls, and had stormed the castle with his magic. He had managed to break through the defenses and capture the king and queen, locking them in the dungeon. He had also taken control of the castle, using his spells to corrupt and enslave the guards and servants. Emily was one of the few knights who had escaped the sorcerer's wrath. She had fought bravely against his minions, but she had been outnumbered and overwhelmed. She had barely managed to flee the castle, taking refuge in a nearby forest. She had vowed to return and save the kingdom from Zalazar's tyranny. She knew that she could not do it alone. She needed allies and weapons to fight against the sorcerer's power. She decided to seek help from the other kingdoms that were friendly to Valyria, hoping that they would join her cause. She also decided to look for a legendary sword that was said to be hidden in a secret cave, a sword that could cut through any magic. She mounted her loyal steed, a white horse named Snowflake, and set off on her dangerous journey. She faced many perils along the way, such as bandits, beasts, and traps. She also met many friends, such as a wise wizard who gave her advice, a friendly fairy who healed her wounds, and a brave prince who joined her quest. She traveled across mountains, rivers, deserts, and forests, until she reached the cave where the sword was hidden. She entered the cave and followed a series of clues and puzzles that led her to the sword's location. She found the sword resting on a pedestal, shining with a golden light. It was a beautiful blade, with intricate carvings and jewels on its hilt. It had a name engraved on its side, Excalibur. Emily felt a surge of awe and excitement as she approached the sword. She reached out her hand and grabbed the hilt. She felt a warm sensation in her palm, as if the sword was welcoming her. She lifted the sword from the pedestal and held it in front of her. She felt a surge of power coursing through her veins. She knew that this was the weapon that she needed to defeat Zalazar. She thanked Excalibur for choosing her and returned to Snowflake. She mounted her horse and rode back to Valyria, ready to face the sorcerer. She arrived at the castle gate and saw that it was guarded by Zalazar's army. She did not hesitate to charge at them with Excalibur in hand. She slashed through their ranks with ease, cutting down any enemy that stood in her way. She reached the gate and smashed it open with one swing of her sword. She entered the castle and fought her way to the throne room, where Zalazar was waiting for her. He was sitting on the king's throne, wearing a black cloak and holding a staff. He had a cruel smile on his face as he saw Emily enter. He said, "Ah, Emily, I've been expecting you. You're quite persistent, aren't you? But you're too late. I've already taken over this kingdom and made it mine, and soon I'll do the same to all the others." Emily said, "You're wrong, Zalazar. You'll never succeed in your evil plans. I'm here to stop you and free this kingdom from your tyranny." Zalazar said, "You're brave, but foolish. You think you can stop me with that sword? That sword is nothing compared to my magic." Emily said, "This sword is more than just a sword. It's Excalibur, the sword of legends. It can cut through any magic." Zalazar said, "Ha! Excalibur? That's just a myth. A fairy tale for children. There's no such thing as Excalibur." Emily said, "Oh yes there is. And I'll prove it to you." She raised Excalibur and pointed it at Zalazar. She said, "Prepare to meet your doom." She charged at him with full speed. Zalazar raised his staff and fired a blast of dark energy at Emily. Emily swung Excalibur and deflected the blast with ease. She reached Zalazar and slashed at him with Excalibur. Zalazar tried to block with his staff, but it was too late. Excalibur cut through his staff and his cloak and his chest. Zalazar gasped and fell to the floor, blood spilling from his wound. He looked at Emily with disbelief and fear. He said, How did you do that? Emily said, I told you. Excalibur can cut through any magic. Even yours. She looked at him with pity and anger. She said, You should have never messed with this kingdom. You should have never messed with me. She stabbed and defeated him. She then lifted Excalibur in the air and shouted, Victory! The castle shook and the sorcerer's spells broke. The king and queen were freed from the dungeon and the guards and servants were freed from their enslavement. They all cheered and celebrated as they saw Emily holding Excalibur. They hailed her as a hero and thanked her for saving them. Emily smiled and hugged them. She was happy to see them safe and sound. She said, You're welcome, your majesties. It was my duty and honor to serve you. They said, You've done more than that, Emily. You've saved the whole kingdom. And for that, we are eternally grateful. They offered her a reward for her bravery and loyalty. They said, You can have anything you want, Emily. Anything at all. Emily thought for a moment and said, There's only one thing I want, your majesties. They said, What is it? Emily said, I want to keep Excalibur. They said, Of course, Emily. You deserve it more than anyone else. You are the true wielder of Excalibur. Emily thanked them and accepted the sword. She then mounted Snowflake and rode away from the castle. She decided to continue her journey across the land, using Excalibur to help those in need and fight against evil. She became known as Emily the Brave, the Knight of Excalibur. The end. Vocabulary. Kingdom. 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 Outnumbered. 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 Cave. 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 Pedestal. 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 Sorcerer. 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 Fairy tale. Fairy tale. Fairy tale. Queen. 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 Reward. Reward. Reward.